Guys, cost and revenue concepts are the more important concepts in our production chapter. So today we will discuss in this video regarding the revenue concepts like total revenue, average revenue, marginal revenue, what is total revenue, what is average revenue, what is marginal revenue, and what is their trend in perfect competition market situation as well as in imperfect competition market situation. That we will discuss today in this video. Before starting my discussion, I would like to request you, please like, share and subscribe the channel so that I will pay more attention to make new videos on economics chapters. So let us start our discussion. At first, in production, cost and revenue or revenue and cost are the more important concepts. Cost means we have already discussed in our last video, in another video, that cost refers to production cost. And here we will discuss today the revenue concepts. What is revenue? Revenue means sellable revenue, or we can say it is sales revenue. So whenever a farm or a producer or a seller starts selling something or producing something, their main objective is to get a profit. And profit is nothing but the difference between revenue and cost. So revenue should be more than cost so that they can get profit and continue their business, right? So revenue means sales revenue. So what is total revenue, what is average revenue and what is marginal revenue? Let us start our discussion. First, what is total revenue? Is a total revenue or TR, it is the income received by a seller or a producer from selling the given amount of a product. So the income received by a seller from selling the given amount of a product is known as total revenue. If a seller sells 100 units of a product and obtains 1000 rupees from his sale, his total revenue is 1000. By selling 100 units and getting 1000 rupees as his income after selling a certain amount of good, that is known as is total revenue. So total revenue is calculated by multiplying price of the product per unit, price per unit into the quantity. That is how we can calculate the total revenue or the total income of the seller. So when price per unit is multiplied by the quantity sold or quantity sold into price, then it will give rise to total revenue, or mathematically we have written that total revenue is P by Q, right? So when, for example, if price of a commodity is 10 rupees and you are selling 100 units of that commodity, after selling 100 units of the commodity, what will be your total revenue? 10 into 100, that is equal to 1000 rupees, right? So this is how, what is total revenue? This is what total revenue is. Then we will discuss what is average revenue. Average revenue is the revenue earned per unit of output. Revenue earned per unit of output. If by selling 100 units of a product, a seller earns 1000 rupees, what is his average revenue? His average revenue is 1000 divided by 100, that is equal to 10 rupees, right? This is average revenue. So average revenue is obtained by dividing the total revenue by the number of units sold. How much you have sold and what is the total revenue you have earned. So divide the total revenue by the units sold, the quantity sold, or AR is equal to TR by Q, we have told here. So by dividing total revenue by the quantity sold, the amount of the commodity sold, we can get the average revenue. So average revenue means it is a per unit revenue, revenue per unit of the output, right? Then we will go to total revenue. What is total revenue? Sorry, what is marginal revenue? We have already discussed what is total revenue, then what is average revenue, now what is marginal revenue. Marginal revenue is the additional revenue earned by selling an additional unit of output, right? It is the additional revenue by selling an additional unit of output. If you sell one more unit of output, how much revenue is added to your total revenue? That is the marginal revenue. In other words, by selling one more unit of good, the addition made to total revenue is known as marginal revenue. An example is given here, please mark. For example, if by selling 100 units of a good, total revenue becomes 1000 rupees, and by selling 101 units, total revenue becomes 1020 rupees, then the marginal revenue is, how to calculate? Total revenue of nth unit 1020 minus n minus 1 unit, that is 1000, so that becomes 20 rupees. This is your marginal revenue. By selling one more unit of output, how much additional income you are getting? That is your total revenue, right? So it is calculated here. See, mathematically we can say MRN is equal to TRN. MRN is equal to TRN minus TRN minus 1, meaning marginal revenue of nth unit is equal to total revenue of nth unit minus total revenue of n minus 1th unit. That means if you are selling, by selling 10th unit, 10 units of a commodity, suppose you are getting 100 rupees. But by selling 11 units of a commodity, one more unit of the commodity, if you are getting 110 rupees, then what will be the marginal revenue of 11th unit? What will be the marginal revenue of 11th unit? That is equal to total revenue of 11th unit minus total revenue of 10th unit. N minus 1 means 11 minus 1, that is equal to 10th unit. So here it is 120 rupees minus 100 rupees, that is equal to, 110 rupees. I have told you that by selling 11th unit of a commodity is getting 110 rupees, but by selling 10th unit of the commodity he was getting 100 rupees. So the difference between 11th unit, total revenue of 11th unit and total revenue of 10th unit, that is 10 rupees. It is the marginal revenue of 11th unit of the commodity, right? So this is how we have to calculate the marginal revenue. It can also be written as marginal revenue of nth unit is equal to delta TR, change in total revenue by change in quantity. How much? By changing the quantity of a commodity, what is the change in total revenue? That will be your marginal revenue, right? Then we will discuss the total revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue under perfect competition market. So under perfect competition market, we know that there are large number of buyers and sellers, and there is a homogeneous product, and there is a single price of the product. All the firms producing in perfect competition market in that industry, they sell the commodity in a single price. There is a single price, a particular price is there, and the products are homogeneous. Okay. In such a market condition, the trend of TRAR and MR and their relationship is discussed by using the given table. You see here in this table, TRAR and MR under perfect competition. In the first column, quantity sold given. In the second column, price per unit of the commodity is given. Third column, total revenue. Fourth column, average revenue. And in fifth column, marginal revenue is given. In perfect competition market, we know that there is a single price, uniform price is there, and as the commodities, the goods, units of the commodity are homogeneous. So when you see here the quantity, there are 7 units of the commodity. Number 1, first one is sold the first unit of the commodity at 15 rupees. The price is the same, 15 rupees here. It is the price, and quantities have been increased. The amount sold has been increased from 1 unit to 2 unit, 3 unit up to 7th unit. You see, total revenue, we have told you that total revenue is price into quantity. Total revenue can be calculated this by taking P into Q. What is the price and what is the quantity? So just by multiplying these two, we can get TR or total revenue. You see, in the what is the quantity? 1 unit of the commodity was sold at 15 rupees, means total revenue 15 rupees. Similarly, with an increase in the amount sold at a particular price, that is at 15 rupees, total revenue becomes 15 rupees, 30 rupees, 45 rupees, 60 rupees, 75 rupees, 90 rupees and 105 rupees just by multiplying the quantity with the price. 7 into 15 is equal to 105, right? So this is how we will calculate the total revenue, just by multiplying these things, right? So this is how total revenue is calculated. Now, how average revenue has been calculated? You see, average revenue, total revenue by quantity sold. We know that average revenue of the firm is the price, right? So AR is equal to P. So here you see, average revenue means the method of the formula for calculating average revenue is equal to TR by Q. TR by Q, right? That is average revenue. So how it is calculated? What is total revenue of the first unit? That is 15 rupees. So 15 by 1 is 15. Second unit, 30 by 2 is equal to 15. 45 by 3, 15. Right? 60 by 4, 15. 75 by 5, 15. 90 by 6, 15. And 105 by 7 is equal to 15. So it is calculated just by taking total revenue TR by Q. Right? Quantity sold. Then we will come to a marginal revenue column. In this column, you see, what is marginal revenue? Marginal revenue is the addition to total revenue by selling one more unit of the output. So, our total revenue, you see here, marginal revenue is the addition to total revenue when first unit of the commodity was sold. It was 15 minus 0, that is 15 rupees. Second unit of the commodity sold, 30 minus 15, that is 15. Third unit of the commodity sold, it is 45 minus 30, 15. 60 minus 45, 15. 75 minus 60, 15. 90 minus 15, 90 minus 75, that is 15. And 105 minus 90, that is 15. So it is just calculated by taking the difference in between the two successive units of the commodity sold in total revenue. So this is how we have calculated the total revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue, and we have marked here one thing, that there is uniform price, average revenue and marginal revenue, all the three are same, right? Average revenue is price and average revenue becomes marginal revenue. In all the cases, AR is equal to MR is equal to price. Okay, and total revenue increases by this margin only, plus 15 in every case. Next, you see, just we will elaborate it. In the above table, price remains constant at 15 rupees irrespective of the amount of the goods sold. Whatever may be sold, price remains constant at 15 rupees, right? Then column 3 shows the total revenue when various quantities of the good are sold. In column 3, we have represented the total revenue and Total revenue has been calculated by multiplying the quantity sold by its price. Marginal revenue has been found by taking out the difference between two successive total revenues, and average revenue is calculated just by dividing total revenue by the quantity sold. It is already, we have already known it, right? Then marginal revenue in this case is 15 rupees, which is equal to price. Marginal revenue is equal to 15 rupees in all the cases. Marginal revenue is 15 rupees, which is equal to price. You see this and in this column and in this column, right? You see? You see in this column, marginal revenue becomes equal to price, that is 15 rupees. Then, which is equal to price and calculated by taking the difference between two successive total revenues. With every increase in the amount sold, MR remains the same. Marginal revenue in all the cases remains the same. So, in case of perfect competition market situation, average revenue or price remains constant and marginal revenue is equal to average revenue. So, as shown in the above table, we have seen in the above table that MR is equal to AR is equal to price, that is rupees 15. So, this is the case with perfect competition market situation. MR is equal to AR, that is equal to price, right? Then we will discuss regarding the AR, MR and TR in imperfect competition situation. Before that, we will diagrammatic, you will represent it, the table with a diagram. You see in this diagram, two diagrams are there. In the left side diagram, first diagram, we have given the TR curve, total revenue curve. Yes, total revenue curve is there. It is total, it has given the total revenue curve, which is upward sloping curve from point O or 0 point, and with the sale of every successive units of the commodity, total revenue is added by rupees 15, and so this is the total revenue curve, which is upward sloping curve. And then in this second diagram, average revenue and marginal revenue curve are given. We saw AR and MR is equal to 15 in this case. So this is the average revenue and marginal revenue curve, right? And so this is the position of average revenue and marginal revenue and total revenue curve in perfect competition market. Then we will elaborate it. From the first diagram, we can observe that the TR curve is an upward sloping curve from point O as total revenue increases with an increase in the amount of goods sold. So it is a upward sloping curve. TR curve is upward sloping curve from the left, upward sloping curve from point O. And in the second diagram, we get average revenue curve and marginal revenue curve. Average revenue curve or AR curve in this case is horizontal straight line parallel to OX axis. Average revenue curve is parallel to OX axis, and average revenue curve indicates that price remains the same at 15 rupees with an increase in the quantity. MR curve coincides with AR curve or average revenue curve. Therefore, in a perfect competition market situation, AR is equal to MR is equal to price. You see here, so total revenue curve is upward sloping curve, right? Total revenue curve is, this curve is upward sloping curve. And in this second diagram, we see that average revenue curve and marginal revenue curve coincide with each other because average revenue is always 15. With additional output sold in the market, average revenue becomes 15 and marginal revenue is also 15 rupees. So they coincide with each other and it is parallel to OX axis. It is parallel to OX axis. So in this situation, we know that in perfect competition market, AR is equal to MR, which is equal to price, right? Then You see, this is just we have explained regarding the diagram in this phase. Then we will go to TR, AR and MR under imperfect competition market. We have already discussed that in perfect competition market, average revenue and average revenue and marginal revenue both coincide with each other, and and total revenue increases. It is the upward sloping curve. But AR and MR curve, they are parallel to OX axis, the horizontal X axis, horizontal line. Now we will discuss regarding TR, AR and MR, total revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue under imperfect competition. In all forms of imperfect competition, average revenue curve of an individual firm, average revenue curve of an individual firm slopes downward. Why the AR curve of a firm slopes downward in imperfect competition market? Because in imperfect competition, when a firm lowers the price of its output, its quantity demanded increases and vice versa. In order to increase the amount of the good to be sold in the market, here in imperfect competition market, monopolistic competition market, monopoly market and oligopoly market, the firm has to reduce its price. When it reduces its price, more and more of the good will be demanded in the market. It is a condition in imperfect competition market. In order to increase the sale of the product, the firms have to reduce the price per unit. So in an imperfect competition market situation, we can know about TR, total revenue and average revenue and marginal revenue from the following table and diagram. You see, in this table, TR, AR and MR are given. You see, in first column it is quantity sold, in the second column it is price, and from this column you see with a reduction in the price of the commodity from 10 rupees to 9 rupees to 8 rupees, 7 rupees, 6 rupees, 5 rupees, 4 rupees only, the quantity sold in the market increases from 1 unit to 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6 units and 7 units. So in order to sell more and more of this output, the producer, the seller or the farm has to reduce the price. So by reducing the price only, in imperfect competition market, the firm can sell more and more units of the good, right? Now we have calculated that total revenue, TR is always P into Q. We know it, TR is always, we can calculate TR by multiplying price into quantity, right? So here also TR is calculated by multiplying Q into P. TR means it is Q into P. So 1 into 10, 10, 2 into 9, 18, 3 into 8, 4, 24. Similarly, it gives 28, 30, 30 and 28 rupees by selling more and more units of the product after reducing the price deliberately. So how average revenue is calculated? You see, average revenue, we know that average revenue is equal to total revenue by Q, number of quantities sold. Now it is calculated here likewise. Total revenue is 10 by 10 by 1 is equal to 10, 18 by 2, 9, 24 by 3, 8, 28 by 4, 7, 30 by 5, 6, 30 by 6, 5 and 28 by 7 is equal to 4. So it is calculated likewise, and here we also see that always there is equality between average revenue and price, right? So now we will discuss how marginal revenue is calculated in this imperfect competition market situation. Marginal revenue is just the difference between total revenue of two successive units of the commodity sold. So it is first 10 minus 0, that is 10, Then 18 minus 10, 8, 24 minus 18, 6, 28 minus 24, 4, 30 minus 28, 2, 30 minus 30, 0, 28 minus 2 is equal to, 28 minus 30 is equal to minus 2. So, this is how marginal revenue is calculated, right. Now, you see, in this type of market situation, with a fall in price or with a average fall in average revenue becomes price, right. So, there is fall in price, there is fall in average revenue, there is fall in marginal revenue, but marginal revenue falls at a higher rate than average revenue. You see here, it is 10 at first, but when average revenue was 9 rupees, marginal revenue at that second unit of the commodity when it was sold was 8 rupees. When the third unit of the commodity was sold, average revenue was 8 rupees, but marginal revenue was 6 rupees. When fourth unit of the commodity is sold, average revenue was 7 rupees, but marginal revenue was 4 rupees. Similarly, marginal revenue falls more than average revenue. So, that's why marginal revenue curve is always below the average revenue curve in imperfect competition market. But in perfect competition market, they both coincide with each other. AR is equal to marginal revenue. But here, MR is less than AR or AR is greater than MR, right. So, MR curve always lies below average revenue curve in imperfect competition market situation, right. Now, we will explain this table. In an imperfect competition market, sellers reduce the price in order to sell more of the product. In the above table, by reducing the price of the commodity from 10 rupees to 9 rupees to 8 rupees to 7 up to 4 rupees per unit, continuously, quantity sold increases from 1 unit up to 7 units just by the reducing the price from 10 rupees to 4 rupees, you see here, right. By reducing the price, quantity sold increases, right. It is observed in the above table that both average revenue and marginal revenue goes on falling, but total revenue goes on increasing at a diminishing rate, right. You see here, average revenue is falling, marginal revenue is falling, but total revenue increases. Total revenue increases with every successive unit sold in the market. First it was 10 rupees, then it was 18 rupees, then 24 rupees, then 28 rupees, then 30 rupees, then 30 rupees, then 28 rupees total revenue. It is increasing, no doubt. Total revenue is increasing, but increases only at a diminishing rate because marginal revenue goes on diminishing. So, total revenue, though it increases, as marginal revenue goes on diminishing, total revenue increases only at a diminishing rate, right? Now, you see, marginal revenue is always less than average revenue, we have seen already, and total revenue becomes maximum when marginal revenue is 0, and total revenue starts falling when marginal revenue becomes negative. You see here, total revenue becomes maximum. What is the maximum point of total revenue? This is the maximum point when the producer or the seller sells the 6th unit of the commodity. Total revenue is 30 rupees and it is the maximum amount. So, when it is maximum, total revenue becomes maximum when the marginal revenue is 0. Marginal revenue 0 means total revenue maximum, right. After that, you see, when marginal revenue becomes negative, minus 2, total revenue starts falling. Total revenue decreases from 30 to 28, minus 2. So, why total revenue decreases? Because marginal revenue becomes negative. So, we have to remember that up to this point, up to selling the 6th unit of the commodity, total revenue goes on increasing, but only at a diminishing rate because marginal revenue goes on diminishing. Total revenue becomes maximum when marginal revenue is 0. Total revenue starts declining, starts diminishing, starts falling when marginal revenue becomes negative. This we should remember, right? So this is position of total revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue. Now we can show it in a diagram. You see in this diagram, total revenue, average revenue and marginal revenue curves are shown. Here in x-axis we are taking quantities sold, units of the product sold in the market, and in y-axis we are giving AR, MR and TR, average revenue, marginal revenue and total revenue. They are shown in y-axis. Now this is total revenue curve TR, this is average revenue curve AR, and this is MR, marginal revenue curve, right? And you see total revenue increases of this up to this point. Total revenue increases up to this point where the seller sells 6th unit of the product, 6th unit of the commodity. And up to this point, total revenue increases only at a diminishing rate. And at this point it becomes maximum, then it starts falling, right? Average revenue curve goes on falling, marginal revenue curve is also goes on falling, but the rate at which marginal revenue curves fall is more than that of average revenue curve. So marginal revenue here is always less than average revenue. That's why marginal revenue curve is below average revenue curve. This is why this marginal revenue curve is below average revenue curve. When it comes below x-axis, it means marginal revenue becomes negative and total revenue starts falling at that point. So this is how the average revenue, marginal revenue and total revenue curves are in imperfect competition market situation, right? And we will explain it here. In the above diagram, the TR is the total revenue curve, AR is the average revenue curve and MR is the marginal revenue curve. When 6th unit of the commodity is sold, marginal revenue becomes 0 and total revenue maximum. It can be observed in the diagram that TR curve, total revenue curve, is upward sloping, whereas average revenue curve and marginal revenue curve are downward sloping, right? As marginal revenue is less than average revenue, marginal revenue curve is lying below average revenue curve. When 7th unit of the commodity is sold, the marginal revenue becomes negative, that is -2, and the marginal revenue curve lies below x-axis. Marginal revenue curve lies below x-axis when it becomes negative. So from the above discussion, we found some relationships in between TR, MR and AR. You see, marginal revenue falls at a higher rate. Number one, marginal revenue falls at a higher rate. Marginal revenue falls at a higher rate than average revenue when average revenue starts falling. Always marginal revenue is less than average revenue, right? With more and more units of the output sold in the market, the marginal revenue is the seller is always less than that of average revenue. This is for which it is already discussed in the table and diagrams given. This is for which MR curve is always below average revenue curve, right? As MR is diminishing but positive, TR increases only at a diminishing rate. We have seen this. You see, as MR is positive, MR is positive up to this one MR curve, up to the point where MR curve touches the OX axis. Up to that point you see here, in this point up to OX 0.6, it is above OX line because it is positive, though declining, reducing, marginal revenue is reducing, decreasing, but it is positive up to it touches the line OX, and up to this point total revenue becomes positive, increases at a diminishing rate, but as marginal revenue falls below OX line, OX axis, after 6th unit of the commodity is sold, when the seller sells the 7th unit of the commodity, marginal revenue curve comes below OX axis, and at that point total revenue starts falling, right? Average revenue is also falling, but it is more than marginal revenue. So this is shown here. Number 1, the relationship marginal revenue falls at a higher rate than average revenue when average revenue starts falling. This is for which MR curve lies below AR curve. Number 2 is average, as marginal revenue is diminishing but positive, total revenue increases only at a diminishing rate. Number 3, TR is maximum when MR becomes 0, total revenue is maximum when marginal revenue becomes 0. And number 4, TR, total revenue, starts falling when marginal revenue is negative. So it is shown in the above table and diagrams, right? So with this, we will stop our discussion. We will close our discussion for today regarding the revenue concepts. Hope all the best for your examination. Thank you all. Again, I will request you to subscribe the video to get prior notification on my channel. Okay, thank you all.